Hello, everybody. This is Rick Mantei, and as you guys all know, my daughter's at Yale, and she gave me a book this weekend, and I started reading it. She's gone, and so she left me this little book, and this book was called A Man, published God and Man at Yale. Okay, it was published in 1951, long before I was thought of. So she left this to me, and I started reading through it, and it was William F. Buckley spent 3 years in the Army. And then after that, he got out and went to Yale and graduated. And that's when he wrote this book. And that's when he, I guess, started evolving as a conservative and espousing his views. And the whole point of this whole thing, I'm reading the book, it's really interesting. I have to look up every other word what it means because it's very, very detailed. It's got so many words in it I've never heard of before. And I didn't just fall off the turnip truck, but I've never heard all these words. And but I got to read about it, and I got to thinking about when I was a little boy. 12, 13, 14, 15 years old. He had a show called Fire and Line, and I used to watch it, and it was on TV, and I was just enthralled by this guy, by his command of the English language and how he could talk to people and agree to disagree. And I know he had a couple of bouts with a few people in his years, but not very many. Most of the people he got along with really well, and they didn't agree, and they shook hands and went their separate ways, and that's the way it was. It's the way politics used to be. It used to be pretty civil, and it's gotten very uncivil here in the last 15, 20 years. But it was pretty nice back then. But anyway, when I read the book, and I said, you know what? I'm going to do a little cast on him, because I think he lived a very good life. I think he affected a lot of people in the positive. And one of the people you may not be aware of that he affected in the positive was Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was a Democrat. And then when he started his National Review magazine, when he started that in the 1950s, Reagan started reading it. And when he got into the mid-60s, that's when Reagan became a Republican. And he will almost 100% tell you it's because of William F. Buckley Jr. That's the reason he became a Republican, because he listened to him and went, hey, that's what I think, and that's what I feel, not the party I'm in right now. I believe in this stuff. And so I watched him when I was a little kid growing up. I read in the newspapers. He had a column in the newspapers. I read that as well. And I've just been a big fan of his. But I kind of forgot about him since he died in 2008 until Sarah gave me this book. I'd never seen this book. And I started reading it. And it's just, I can't put the thing down. It's just absolutely wonderful. So a little bit about him. Born in 1925, died in 2008. And of course, he was 82 years old, born in New York City. Very, very intelligent, very smart, graduated with honors at Yale. And then he, in 1955, started the National Review. 1966, he started Fire and Line. And I used to watch that all the time, too. When I was a little kid growing up, all the way through college, I watched Fire and Line. It was great. And that's where he would debate people, and it was just wonderful. I mean, you don't see that no more, and I wish that they would have stuff like that now. But all his shows are archived. He made 1,429 episodes of Fire and Line, and they're now archived with the Hoover Institute at Stanford. Who would have thought that? Here's one of the biggest conservative Republicans around, and Stanford's the one that's got all the keys to the kingdom, got all those shows and whatnot that you have to go through to watch what he's got. Married to the same gal until she died at 80 years old, and which was really, I think, pretty awesome. But as I mentioned to you, he founded the National Review. It's still going. Fire and Line's still going, although he's not the one actually doing it. He published this book, as I told you, God and Man at Yale, which I'm reading. It's just really good. I'm really enjoying it. He ran for mayor in New York City in the mid-1960s. That just wasn't his cup of tea. He worked for the CIA after he graduated from Yale for 2 years. He wrote over 50 books, and I'm reading one of them right now. He liked to write espionage books. He wrote one of those, a fictitious CIA officer named Blackford Oaks, that he wrote a bunch of different books on that one. You look at his net worth, and his dad was in oil back when he was born in the 1920s. In Mexico. So his dad even though he had 9 kids, he made a lot of money in the oil business. So I don't know how much of his net worth was attributed to that, but when he died, he was worth approximately $30 million. Now remember, he hosted Fire Line, he did National Review, he did countless speaking engagements, so he made a lot of money. But still, for his age group, $30 million ain't no piece of cheese. That's a small amount of money. That's pretty good that he had that much money by the time he passed off. The 1,429 episodes of Fire Line I was telling you about was the longest ever with a single host, ever. in TV. Nobody's ever beat that. That's pretty awesome what he did. And then of course he had that syndicated column I was telling you about, and he did very well with that. So I'm a big fan of his. I thought he did a wonderful job. Believed another thing about him that people just have a hard time. He was very religious. He was a Catholic, very religious. And I over the weekend I watched a lot of his shows. I just went back archived and watched them where he debated his religion. And like with Billy Graham, with Ronald Reagan, and other people. And the guy was fervent. I mean, he absolutely stuck to his guns the whole time. And they said, a lot of people said to him, "You're too intellectual, too smart to believe in God." And he goes, "No, just the contrary." So, you read about him, and whether you are a conservative or a liberal, it doesn't matter to me. It didn't matter to him. We have different views, and you espouse your views, and we shake hands and move on. So here's to you, William Buckley. I think you had a great life well lived.